Hi, my name is Shane. I use they and them pronouns, and this is the third, I think, session of our Impossible Landscapes game, the campaign for Delta Green, the role-playing game. This game was organised through the Open Hearth Gaming community, which is an online community that plays and talks about a whole lot of role-playing games, especially Indian story games, but also Delta Green occasionally. So here we are. If you want to find out more or play a game with us, check out openhearthgaming.com. I'll get the players to introduce themselves in just a sec, but I just have a couple of bits of game admin that I wanted to go over. So one is just to let you know, I've made some changes to the lines and veils. Like I've added some things that weren't there previously for reasons that I'm not going to go into. I don't expect it to make a big impact on the game, but just to let you know, there have been some changes if you want to have a look and see what's line and veil now. The other thing is, I want you to think more about filling out the rest of your motivations. So we kind of let that go at the start for you to get a feel for your characters, but maybe by the start of our next session, I would love for you to have filled out a set of 5 motivations, which again, just like short phrases that sort of describe your character's approach to things, why they're interested in the unnatural, why they're working for Delta Green. If you're having trouble, I'm happy to have a chat with you offline between sessions. But also, just generally, my advice for this is don't overthink it, and simple, obvious things are probably going to be good. That said, I'll ask you all to introduce yourselves and your characters. So, names and pronouns, and anything that we should know about either you or the character that you're playing. So, Mark, can I ask you to go first this week?
Oh, first up. Hi, my name is Mark. My pronouns are he, him, and they, them. I am playing Elena Anisimov, whose pronouns are she, her, a anthropologist and former KGB officer, or KGB agent, whatever, who defected to the West, and is currently suspected of still having Russian ties, apparently. So we'll see how that is.
Cool. Thank you. Sorry, can I just ask people to mute themselves when they're not talking? I'm hearing quite a loud keyboard in the background. Thank you. Blake.
G'day, I'm Blake he, him, playing Felix Straussson. Also he, him, MIT scientist, nerd guy. Physicist.
All right.
Specifically.
Concise, good. Pocket.
Hey there, I am Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. In the last few days, I have become convinced that Coldplay are devotees of Haster because look at the lyrics for the song Yellow. I mean, how could it not be about the Yellow King? I'll be playing, God, who am I playing? Sarah Bradford. She is a Bradford of the Mayflower Bradfords, as her parents are all too eager to tell anybody who gives even anything remotely resembling a shit. For her part, Sarah started forging art, got kicked out of Harvard, a legacy getting kicked out of Harvard, imagine that. And now just kind of makes her living forging art and hanging out with art dealers and people who need art forged, and periodically taking on a weird case for Delta Green, which is how she has come to be in this seemingly endless hotel. Yay.
I like that she describes it as people who need art forged. I'm not sure that I consider that a need.
Well, that's because you apparently don't need art forged. You might want art forged, but you don't need it. It's not a compulsion for you. So
it's the sixth element in Maslow's hierarchy.
Yeah.
After self-actualization, forged art.
Yes, that's right. I'd forgotten. All right, thank you. I'm Brandon.
Hi, I'm Brandon. Hey, I'm playing Tara Reinhardt, who is a firefighter and paramedic, who saw something unnatural in a fire that burned people to ash, and joined Delta Green as a result. She is she has, as per her profession, is the charge into peril to help other people type and think about it afterwards, and which is how she is in this particular pickle.
All right. Thank you all. I've just done some checking. Coldplay will not form for another 2 years from where we're starting in 1995. So possibly what we're actually seeing now is the Coldplay origin story. I guess we'll see how that plays out.
As if the Yellow King cared about time,
True.
time single direction, right?
Absolutely. So just to briefly recap, you've been assigned by Delta Green to investigate following the disappearance of a New York poet named Abigail Wright. Your instructions were to determine whether an unnatural influence was behind the disappearance. I think it's fair to say at this point that you have confirmed that that's the case. And the other part of your instructions from Delta Green were that if an unnatural influence was found, to stop or destroy it. So that awaits us. And yeah, as Puckett said, 3 of the characters are currently lost in the sort of endlessly branching hallways that seem to extend the Macallistar building by night. We'll find out what Felix is up to in just a sec, because Blake wasn't here for the last session. Is there anything else that anyone wants to add or ask by way of recap, just to get us ready?
I have an idea of how I could be there, if you like.
Well, I have an idea of how you could be there as well, so we'll compete shortly to see who's gonna win. Cool. So where I want us to start off today is actually, before we get back to the Macallistar building, I've been thinking about your characters' bonds. So in the system, you've all created a set of bonds who are like important relationships of yours. They haven't really come into play because none of you have needed to do that. But I would like to just find out a bit about these bonds. So what I'd like to do is go around and have each of you just very briefly describe like a scene or vignette for one of your bonds, something about like what their everyday life is like, what they've been doing, not necessarily late at night as the game starts, but while you've been in New York, what's happening for them. I don't want to put anyone on the spot, so if someone has an idea.
Yeah, I've got an idea.
All right, go ahead, Blake.
Maybe when I was a bit younger, I went to visit my aunt, who's like a art dean at Princeton.
Mm-hmm.
And she was trying to explain to me why people are drawn to art, and I didn't get it because I'm a science nerd. And she showed me this surrealist, stuff all over the place. It's a, what do you call it? It's an event. This piece is an event. It's not just a painting on a wall or whatever. And I was like, I'm looking for patterns. I'm looking for inspiration. I don't get it. And she's like, you're looking at it wrong. It's not about us looking at it. It's about letting it take you. And at the time, I didn't get it, but it comes to mind now after I've been looking at what Abigail did all over the walls.
Nice. Thank you. Puckett, do you want to go next?
Sure thing. So I'm looking at my, I know that I already did a scene with Albert Mitchell. So I think this one is probably Alton Standish. And I mentioned that he's from the Mayflower Standishes and seems to revel in pissing off his family as much as I revel in pissing off mine. So we've bonded over that. We sit in dive bars and we'll have drinks just chuckling over how much our families would shit kittens if they knew what we were up to. But he's also a very good source for lesser works of questionable provenance. Things find their way into his hands, and I will take a look at them because, as any good forger knows, the reason they have those goddamn gigantic frames on paintings is to conceal the edges in art museums to make it harder to forge them. Mm-hmm. So, he and I were kind of simpatico in that regard. And I don't remember which Dutch master it was, but I was looking at this thing. And when I say a lesser work, I mean this thing, the best thing one can say about it is that it's old. That's it. It's not noteworthy in any way, shape, or form. It's just old. And it was put together by somebody who has too many J's and I's and N's in their name. So that night, as I was looking at these edges, as I was taking pictures of them so that I didn't have to memorize them, he asked me why art. I could have done a lot of things. Why did I choose this avenue to piss off my parents? And I mean, honestly, pissing off my parents is kind of secondary. It's that this is really lucrative. And he should know that, because he finds some of these works, and before passing them on to their intended destination, I look at them. There's probably a couple of my forgeries sitting in museums that were recovered. And I remember sitting in that room with him, wondering how it is that he and I could be in a very similar situation. And yet he didn't seem to understand where I was coming from at all. It made me feel alone in a way that I hadn't felt before, and I haven't felt since.
Thank you. Brandon, can you tell us something about one of your bonds?
Sure. So this is maybe a scene that didn't happen all that long ago. And we see Tara, who's standing at the home plate of a baseball diamond. And there's a wire cage full of baseballs behind her. And she is she's picking one up after another and cracking them into the infield and outfielder for the team that's there to practice. She hits a sharp bouncer one just outside the shortstop that makes her dive for it and get off scramble to get off a shot to first base. She hits high fly to right center, make the fielder run a little bloop right over the second base to that the center fielder has to run in on and then make the throw to second, because it'd be too late for the throw to first. And then she turns to an older woman who with coach's uniform on, and says, "The kids aren't bad." She says, "You, Abby, over there at the third base needs to remember to shift back after they come in." I managed to catch her out on one of those, and but otherwise, they've got good hustle. I think with some work, they'll be good. She said, "Yeah, I think so too." And then this is Lillian Guilford, and Lillian says, "So do you miss it?" And Tara bursts out laughing and says, "All the fucking time." I tried, some adult leagues and stuff, but there isn't anybody who's, who really wants to play baseball at this same level, unless you try to make a living out of it, right? Crappy living in the minors or something like that, which is, and when it's baseball, it just doesn't go that far up the tree anyway. Not that I was good enough to do that, but playing in college was great. Could be out there. Everybody was so up for it. Everybody wanted it so much. It really seemed, you could just concentrate on nothing but, watching the batter, trying to guess where the ball was going to go, running like hell when you got some wood on it, And it was just, clean and simple and easy. And at the end of the day, you won or you lost. So, yeah, I miss it.
Nice, thank you. And Mark, what do we see of one of Yelena's bonds?
Yeah, I see Elena kind of sitting at the dinner table with the Smith family, her kind of like safe family, probably about a month or so after leaving the like isolated safe house, after she was after she came to the U.S. And there's this kind of awkwardness as the family members don't want to ask too many questions about Yelena, and there's even some a little bit of suspicion there. The like anti-communist propaganda was strong, and even though they've agreed to take her in, like some of that's hard to let go of. Um, and so they're trying not to ask too many questions, and she's answering what she can in heavily accented English at the time, and just that awkwardness where you kind of feel like an outsider. She felt like an outsider, and this family, couldn't even really get to know her as a person. She's missing the relationship she had, the people that she knew back in Russia, friends and family, and here she is, a stranger, and she can't even show the people she's staying with much about who she really is or what she really thinks or cares about, uh, because of all of this, hush hushness. Even the family itself were chosen because of their sort of nondescript, very easily overlooked kind of um, look, a very typical American family, that nobody really thinks too much about uh, when they're not actually interacting with them. So she's kind of sitting there, just lonely, eating food that is not quite the same as what she's used to, um, with a group of people she doesn't know and doesn't have much of an opportunity to get to know at this point. So lots of loneliness, lots of feelings of despondence, and not being able to really connect like she might want to. You're muted, Shane.
Thank you. Blake, you said you had an idea about how Felix finds the others. What are you thinking?
After he did some research at the library, like he's looking at the photos and he's like, I'm going to go back and talk to that guy, and goes to chat to them. And goes, oh, hang on, that takeout didn't go down well. I'm going to go to the toilet. While he's in the toilet, this will come in and talk to him, get lost, and then I come out and he's like, oh yeah, your friends are down there. So he's like, oh okay, wander down and hang on.
Well, okay. Can I suggest an alternative?
Yeah, go for it.
So I think that maybe after you get back from the library a little later than the others, and when you get back to the hotel room, there's they've left you a note to say that they've gone to the Macallistar to follow up a lead. They're going to go to Michael Van Fitz's room, and you can find them there. If you try their mobile phones, you're going to find that you can't seem to get a signal for them. It's the mid 90s. It's probably not that surprising to you that you can't get a good connection. It's maybe not a huge red flag. And so I assume that on getting the note, you like head along to the Macallistar building.
Yeah. I still have some photos because I wanted to see if he had a reaction. Because I just picked like 12 at random, and I'm just going to see if he has a reaction to any of them, and that's my kind of in to have a chat.
So, what are the photos of specifically?
I took a bunch of photos of Abigail
in the apartment. Yeah.
Sure. And I thought I just picked 12 at random, and I just see if I get any reaction at all from this guy. So.
Well, Actually, as you approach the Macallistar building, you notice that the lights are on in the basement, which you haven't seen before. You still just want to head up to Michael's apartment?
Um, I'll have a quick look if there's like a storm cellar window or something I could look through to have a squiz.
Yeah, so as you get down close to the window, you can definitely hear voices inside. Um, you can't quite make, well, why don't you make an alertness roll and we'll see if you can make out what they're saying.
Okay, I do have keen senses for
Oh.
high end, if that's useful.
I don't know if it is, but
All right, that's cool.
okay.
Hang on, there's a percentage thing up here, wasn't there? Bam, done. 82, which is not good. Way above what I need.
Okay, so you can't really make out what's being said. I guess through the window you can see. It looks like there's an easel and a painting set up. There's someone down there who's standing in front of the easel. That's one of the people who's talking, but that's probably about all that you can see from where you are.
I've got my Polaroid. I'll take a couple of photos.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And then I'll head on in.
Sorry, head on into the basement or to Michael's apartment?
Into Michael's apartment.
Okay.
I'm brave, but I'm not that brave.
Okay. So Michael opens the door, and you're going to see the same thing there that that the others did last time, which is that the apartment is impossibly large, that these bookshelves just seem to extend almost off to infinity. As the door's open, he doesn't need to open it to you. And as you come in, he sort of looks at his watch and says, "I thought you would be here earlier."
Yeah, I was at the library. Have you seen my friends? They were supposed to meet me here.
They went in, and he gestures to the space where the shelves extend.
I don't think I'm a good people reader, so I wouldn't really be that sus. Okay.
The situation is clearly not normal.
Yeah, I'll show him a couple of the pictures and just say, do any of these look familiar? And it's just stuff that Abigail put on the wall. They're kind of picked at random, so.
All right. Why don't you make a luck roll? So I reckon make a luck roll to see if there's anything that sparks for him. So a luck roll means you're trying to roll your choice of either under or over 50. So do you want to roll high or low?
Let's go low.
All right. So you're trying to roll under 50.
89. Bam. Nope.
He doesn't recognize them, and he sort of disdainfully throws the Polaroids on the ground around his feet as you show them to him.
Okay. All right. He's obviously less of a people person than I am, so I'll pick him up. And I said, my friends went that way.
Yes.
I'm laughing. My character says, All right. So Felix will. Okay. Now he'll sort of wander off, look back a bit, and then wander down the corridor.
All right. How are you going to try and find your friends in there?
I'll just sort of open a few doors, occasionally call out their name, but he's not panicking. He's just kind of like, oh yeah, it's just a big hotel. I don't think it is clicked on him how big it is yet.
Let's see if he's panicking. Why don't you go ahead and roll a resilience test?
Sweet. That's percentage?
Yes.
All right, so 60. See if I'm the third failure in a row. Yes, damn it.
All right. So that's actually good news. So you find the third or fourth door that you open, you find the three others, and you can see that.
I was going to say, I think I'm sort of looking around like, I've got you under my skin. Oh, hello.
You can see that they're quite badly hurt. I think it was especially Tara has been, sort of lightly bandaged or treated, but you can see that part of the wall in here has collapsed, and it looks like a couple of your teammates took the brunt of it.
I guess I'll have a coat or something. I can take off my coat and see if they need to. Tara needs to sort of be helped keep warm and that. What happened?
Wall fell on us, and then it didn't.
Wait, what? The wall fell on you.
Yeah, there was a crack in the wall that led to a cave, and
In a hotel.
yeah.
Wait a minute. This is an apartment block. Why is there a hotel? What the hell's going on?
More importantly, how the hell did you find us? And did you like leave? Did you come in with a string or anything that will help us find our way back out?
I went to chat to that non-friendly guy in the apartment.
Michael.
Yeah, that guy. I showed him some photos and he chucked them on the floor, which is a bit rude. And then he said, "Oh, your friends are down there." So I was just thinking about you, and I came looking for you, and yeah, wasn't. Anyway, so Tara was hurt. Has anyone got a first aid kit or?
I've already been patched up a little bit. Unless you brought
my best within my limited knowledge.
Unless you brought a suture kit with you, I don't think there's a whole lot more to do.
No, unfortunately not.
Got any lidocaine while you're there? Pat your pockets.
It's not something I carry. No.
Damn, that we could use it. It's really starting to throb. Yeah, this is a hotel that seems to connect to. We're guessing a lot of places.
You mean there's like sewer tunnels or something, or
no?
Oh.
They're like the bookshelves in Van Fitz's apartment,
right?
And the hotel itself goes. Well, it seems to go on as far as you want to go. If there's a way to find your way around here, we haven't discovered it yet.
Well, hang on. So, a hotel, is there like a maitre d' that can show us the exit or show us
Tried that
buffet or whatever you want to call it?
We found the night manager. We find the night manager's apartment, but they weren't so helpful.
Felix, do you have your glasses with you?
Yeah. And he pulls them out, puts them on.
You want to look at this place? I
Yeah,
mean,
sure.
Really look at it?
All right, I'll try different coloured lenses and look around the corners of the room and the edges of the room and stuff.
So as you filter for yellow light, you suddenly can hear a voice in the distance from a few rooms away, sort of in a particular direction, but you can't tell quite, how far away it is. It sounds like someone's sort of yelling, chanting, some sort of declaiming poetry, something like that.
Oh. All right, I'm going to head in that direction.
Are the others going to come with you?
Yeah, so I can hear someone.
Yeah, okay. So using those lenses lets you hear someone. All right. I'm for it. Lead on, Felix.
So Felix, are you going to keep the lenses on?
I'm going to just get in my bag and get my axe.
Okay.
Just, be prepared. I was never a Girl Scout, but, it's still a thing.
Sure. Felix, are you using the lenses as you go, or do you take them off?
Yeah, I'll occasionally flick back and then on again and, keep looking around. And...
All right. So as Felix leads the three of you down the corridor, all of you start to hear what Felix can hear. It is, at first just a sort of indistinct shouting, but as you get closer, you realize it is some sort of ritual or invocation. What do you do?
Someone else had a cult as well. That was... Who's that? That's Sarah.
I have a cult.
Sarah, I'm going to say, does that sound a bit, ye olde occult sort of thing to you, or am I?
I want to make a roll to see if it does.
So if you want to make an alertness roll to see if you can make out enough to figure out what it is, you can do that. But
Okay.
anyone with any rating in occult is going to recognize this as like ritualistic chanting.
Okay.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Alertness roll incoming.
Me too.
Missed
I
the
failed.
alertness
That's
roll.
4 failures in a row.
I prefer to think of it as 4 opportunities to improve our stats.
To get deeper in
Oh yeah,
shit.
so do remember that when you fail a skill roll, you should mark the skill to improve at the end of the session. So everyone who wants to try and make out what's being said is welcome to make an alertness roll. It doesn't have to be just one person.
Sure. Look at that.
Oh, that is a critical
That is
failure.
a
I don't know what
critical
critical failure to.
And that's with an alertness goal of 70. You know, it's.
She's admiring her reflection in her axe.
I think my head's just pounding.
I think that what happens, Tara, is that you are distracted by the sound of an old-fashioned rotary phone ringing behind you, and you turn to see that at the far end of this hallway is a phone booth, and there's a woman in the phone booth using the phone. As you look, you realize that she's wearing handcuffs and appears to be at least a little battered, a little injured.
What the hell?
She looks back at you and seems to make some sort of eye contact with you as she speaks. Although from here you can't hear what she's saying.
Hang on, folks. I need to check. I need to check this person out.
Why?
Because they might be in trouble.
What about any of the people we've met here so far would suggest that this is a real person in trouble?
Look, just let me do this, okay?
So Tara heads down the hall. Does anyone go with her?
I'll sigh and go after her and say, you probably need somebody with you to at least sort of kind of watch your back, maybe?
Yeah, no, that would be great. I appreciate that.
Don't go collecting stray puppies here, though.
I'm not. I'm just going to find out what her deal is. And if it's, she's weird like the night manager, then she'll just let it go.
All right. So I'll come back to you in just a sec. But Mark, did you want to make a roll to see if you can make out what's being said?
I did make a roll.
Oh, that's a critical success.
Ooh.
And
So you
definitely an exact match is a pass, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, is that
so
a dead-on critical success? It
on
was.
a critical success, you are going to hear what a man's voice inside yelling, "I do invocate and conjure thee, O spirit person, and being with power armed from the supreme majesty, I do strongly command thee, by Beryl." Oh my god, the words are unpronounceable from this point on. From Berylinensis, Beldachiensis, Palmatia, and Apologiae Sedis. And that seems to sort of cycle. It's repeated. The person chants it over and over again. And you definitely recognize Person was the name of the demonic seal that you found. I'm going to post that text in the chat so that you're not relying on my desperate attempts at pronunciation.
Shit. I'm going to yell back at however far Tara and Sarah have gone. I'll just be yelling, the demon! They're summoning the demon!
We'll ask it if it wants to play.
So let's come back to you in just a sec, but we'll see if Tara and Sarah make it to talk to this woman. So Tara, can you make a resilience check to see if you catch up with this woman? That looks like a success. So you're going to take 1 point of resilience or willpower loss, but you see her hang up the phone and walk away with a sort of a little bit of a limp before you get to her. And by the time you reach the phone, she seems to have vanished. You're muted, Brandon.
I kick the phone booth in frustration. God damn it! Shit! It does everything just going to vanish the moment we touch it or fall on our heads. Okay. Let's head back.
Yeah, our best option is just getting the fuck out of here.
It felt like a lot of this feels like it's just out of reach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know that it's real, but it moves away from you when you put your hands out.
Look, I feel like what's going on here is a bunch of shit that French postmodernist philosophers wrote about, like fucking hyperreal and like simulacra and shit like that. So I'm going to suggest we do the same thing I did to that, class in philosophy. Get the fuck out of here and go get drunk.
Oh, I thought you were going to say get baked, but I didn't bring anything.
So at this point,
if you want some, I can find it.
So Yelena calls from the other end of the hall to tell you of the demon summoning at this point.
Shit, I guess we better move.
Oh, demon summoning. Great. Yeah, great. Just what we needed.
So the four of you reassemble outside the door where you can still hear this ritual, this chanting. All of you, Yelena can sort of explain what's being said or what the context is. And I think, Sarah, you read enough of the Lesser Key of Solomon to recognize this as a summoning ritual that's described there.
Okay. Was there anything in the Lesser Key of Solomon that would interfere with this ritual and stop that demon from being summoned?
No, there was not.
Okay. Can I make a roll for any other occult knowledge I might have about how to interrupt this thing, even if it means that the person summoning this demon gets turned into,
you can,
food?
You can definitely make an occult roll to see what you know about interrupting this kind of ritual.
All right. 18 under 70.
So what you know is that this ritual just won't work. This is like, Western occultism of the basest sort. No credible occultist would believe in this stuff anymore. There's no way that it could actually summon a demon. Do you feel reassured by that?
No. I will turn to everybody else and say, look, this ritual, all this shit the guy's yelling, it's meaningless. I could be in there reciting Lewis Carroll's Jabberwocky and probably do a better job of summoning a demon. Right? Now, we got a couple of choices. We can go through that door and talk to whoever's behind this door, maybe learn something. Or, Felix, you can resume using your glasses and maybe we can find a way out of here using, I don't know, different parts of the visible light spectrum or whatever the hell that thing on your face does. My vote is for just getting out of here.
Based on just what happened with Tara, I'm inclined to agree. I think this is another mirage illusion, whatever you want to call it.
That's not what I said. I don't think they're illusions. I think they're real. I think just reality is hard to get a hold of here.
You can say that.
You think we're seeing an image of something that's happened at another time and place or something? We're seeing I
think we're seeing things that happen a lot of times and places. I mean, some of the things we saw, remember, Sarah? I mean, we're weirdly old-fashioned. But I mean, maybe that's just because this place has been around for a long time. I don't know.
That certainly could be true, but
I would just like to remind everybody that, I mean, insofar as we can trust what the Night Manager told us, some version of Abigail is here, and we don't know if it could be the one from our, whatever you want to call it, plane reality timeline. Who the fuck knows? But and Abigail is here, and we're supposed to be finding out what happened.
And we have a link here, right? You said that the demon's name was Person, which is the same one in that symbol.
Yes.
So whatever they're doing here, it's got something to do with. I mean, it might have something to do with Abigail's disappearance. And if they can't really summon a demon, then what are we worried about?
because, and Tara, you should know this better than all of us. When you go into a fire, how many times do you run into people who are so panicked or so out of their gourds that they try to fight you?
I don't know, about one time in 10, but it's pretty terrible when it happens.
Yeah. So, yeah, I can tell you with absolute certainty this ritual is bullshit. But obviously the person in that room doesn't think that. And for all I know, we may be in, I don't even know what to call this place. Some kind of like a liminal space or something like that. Maybe I remember reading books that talked about reality being soft in certain places. This could be one of them.
So you're saying the ritual might work here?
I can tell you that in our New York, our Boston, it ain't going to do shit.
But we're not there.
But hotel rooms in our New York and our Boston typically don't have cracks and cave walls in them.
No. Or bookshelves that go on endlessly.
Now you see that part I do like though.
It would.
That's a nifty trick, and I want to know how to do
keep
that.
your books. Yeah.
Right. But
I wish I had a basement that went on endlessly.
I'm going to keep looking for a way out of here with my goggles, because
I don't know. I think we should. I think we should see who these people are. I mean, maybe it'll be nothing, right? Maybe open the door and there'll be nobody behind it.
Tara, if you're going to do that, just do me a favor and let me go first, and you have your axe at the ready behind me in case you need to.
You got it.
Yeah, because I can talk about the occult with them and
figure out what we're dealing with.
I tell you, this is like an undergrad getting a hold of the Satanic Bible. That's how useful this shit is that they're doing, at least in our world.
Apologiae sedes. It sounds like, if I remember the Latin we learned in school, that's like the seat of seats of apology or something. Yeah, that sounds completely wrong. I have no idea about the rest of it.
So we may not be in agreement, but we're going in here, right? That's the plan now. I'll knock on the door.
The chanting continues.
I will do the cop knock on the door and start pounding my fist on it.
You hear like a distinct change in the voice on the other side. It starts to have like a sort of more rushed or desperate quality to it. But the chanting doesn't stop.
Jesus Christ, just take the axe to it.
Open the well, let's see if the door opens.
I'll yell through the door. It's like, my guy, if you use that ritual to summon person, person actually will consume you. It's not doing what you think it will. And I'm lying through my teeth here.
The ritual continues. There's a sort of high-pitched edge to the voice.
Open the door.
It's going faster and faster.
Oh, fuck this. And I'll just kick the door.
So the door swings open. You don't see a person. The chanting has ceased. There's an odd smoking brass vessel marked with occult symbols sitting in front of the seal of person, which has been sort of carved into the floor with a knife.
Huh.
Yelena, you catch a glimpse of, looks like sort of gold and silver cloth trailing behind someone as they head through one of the doors inside the room, like towards a bathroom or bedroom or something like that. Sorry, I have picked Yelena right as you have a mouthful of food.
Is there any gear there
Okay.
that I can stuff up the symbol? Like the symbol carved on the floor, I want to deface it and break it, basically.
I mean, there's a knife lying on the floor. You could start carving into it with
Yeah,
that.
I'll start doing that.
All right.
I will like rush to the bathroom or whatever the door is
I'm after.
and wrench it open.
You see, so it is a bathroom. It's small. It's contained. There's nowhere that anyone could have gone in there, and there's no one there. Make a resilience check for me.
Alrighty.
All right, you're okay. It was strange. Someone definitely disappeared into that room, but I mean, I guess not much more stranger than anything else that's happened in here.
I'll just be like, somebody definitely came in here. Gold cloth. I caught a glimpse of gold
Okay.
cloth.
So what's this vessel?
It is just it's had some sort of herbs burning in it. It looks to be some sort of brazier or something like that used in a ritual.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go.
I was just going to say, can I identify any of the herbs by smell since this is part of an occult ritual?
Go ahead and make an occult roll.
That is a definite no.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can.
Come on, have a go. Let's have a look. No, failed again. That's 5 failures. Excellent.
What do you do?
Nothing else here, huh?
I mean, you can make a search roll or something like that if you want to
Search for
search around.
secret doors.
I'm not interested in secret doors, but to see if there's anything else around here.
Yeah, I got a pretty good search, but middling search. Give it a shot.
I made a search roll.
All right. So, on the opposite wall to the bathroom where the figure disappeared that Yelena had seen, there's a room with another door on the other side of it. You can hear some sort of noise coming from the other side of that door. You can't quite make out what it is.
What's the room? Like an adjoining?
A bedroom. Sorry, there was like the sort of main, I guess, suite. There's some couches and things like that have been pushed out of the way to carve the symbol. And then, yeah, adjoining it is on one side a bathroom and on the other side a bedroom.
All right, who's with me opening this door?
Yeah, I'm coming.
Okay, open up.
Sarah and Felix, what are you doing?
I'm just going to sit down on a couch. And I want to try to call my dad. There's a phone in here, right?
I think we established that you all carry mobile phones. Do you want to use that?
Sure.
Or I guess there will be a phone in the hotel room somewhere, or in the room.
Yeah, well, I want to try the phone in the hotel room.
Okay. So, I mean, it's quite late at night, but you are welcome to give him a try. Felix, what are you doing?
I think I'll stand roughly between Sarah and Tara so I can see both and just keep track of them both because I don't want us to get separated.
All right. So Tara, as you open the door, you're going to see that it opens onto Michael Van Fitz's apartment, and Michael is standing, almost expectantly, like looking back at you with his hands behind his back, and says, "I wondered how long it would take for you to get back here. And quite quick."
Yeah, I shout to the others. Found Van Fitz's apartment.
Awesome.
Sarah, you're like halfway through dialing your dad's phone number. Are you going to finish dialing or go through the door?
No, I'm just going to get up and walk over to the door and walk through it. And I'm going to make sure to knee Van Fitz in the breadbasket when I get to him.
All right. So he's not a particularly impressive physical specimen. So you definitely like wind him. He sort of falls, and the three of you see that he was holding a hatchet behind his back. It sort of drops to the floor as he falls.
Oh, shit.
I look at Tara because, yeah.
Nice.
Tara, show him yours.
I've got mine on my shoulder. And it's like, really? Really? You thought that was a good idea? Or did you expect something else to come through the door?
I mean, a door opens into my apartment in the middle of the night. What do you think I'm going to do? He's kind of coughing and sputtering as he says this. Am I crazy to want to defend myself?
I don't know. Are you crazy? How do you deal with having a place that opens up into wherever that was?
Elena, what were you saying?
I was just gonna say I'm gonna like pick up the hatchet and menacingly like wield it and just like, look, you little Russian swear word. I don't know any Russian, so.
Suka.
And
that means
that one is not as easy to remember.
Yeah, that means mother.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's probably the one. And yeah, I'm just gonna say, you clearly understand or know what's going on here. So drop all of that "I'm just a poor victim" bullshit.
I'm going to say, where's Abigail?
Well, I told your friends before. She moved upstairs. You want to know? She looks at Tara. He looks at Tara and says, you want to know how I live like this? Because one day I'll get to move up there too.
All right. Elena. Actually, Tara, would you encourage Mr. Van Fitz to sit, and I gesture toward a table? So, Elena, give me the hatchet.
I think I grudgingly give the hatchet.
Sarah,
I feel comfortable.
We are the good guys here.
Yeah.
This guy's an asshole, but that's as far as it goes.
I don't like it when... I don't even know what the hell we just went through, but I don't like it. I don't have words to describe it, but I still don't like it. So
it's like a nightmare.
My suggestion is we sit him down at this table and we ask him questions, and every time he gives us an answer that we don't like, we apply the hatchet to him. Maybe not cutting off his fingers or anything like that, but somebody here went through Catholic school, right? Just wrap his knuckles, right?
I feel like Orthodox Catholic school is quite similar.
So just a reminder for everyone, we do have a veil on torture, so we can play this out however, but we're not going to describe things in detail.
Yeah. If somebody else has a problem with being the one to do it, I will absolutely be the one to hold the hatchet, ask the questions, etc., folks don't have to get involved if you don't want to. I want to make sure everybody's conscience is clear on this. My conscience would be fine with, having a discussion with Mr. Van Fitz here.
I think Mr. Van Fitz will be highly motivated to tell us what he knows.
I'm willing to tell you anything you want to know.
I don't think he's the instigator of any of this, Sarah. And so, please, so don't.
I'll answer your questions.
Okay, what is that place?
What is that place? I mean, you've started with a difficult question. I call it the Night Floors.
Okay. Was Abigail trying to get there?
I don't know if you can try to get there.
I mean, did she intend to leave this place?
Well, yes. She married the insurance salesman or started living with him. I'm not quite sure. It was intentional.
Is this Death of a Salesman or something?
Sorry, it's actually Encyclopedia Salesman. That was Shane's mistake.
How do we get upstairs?
Well, there's a staircase that leads to the roof.
Yes, but everything. Wait, roof? I thought you said there was a 4th floor, or a 5th, 6th floor, 6th floor.
Abigail's on the 6th floor. That's right.
Right, but this building
is that below the roof or above the roof?
This building doesn't have 6 floors here, but it does somewhere else. Is that what you're saying?
Make a psychology roll. Humint. Sorry, is what I'm after.
Yeah.
Everyone can make a humint roll to see who can sort of get a sense of where Michael's at.
I did make it. I'm not hopeless.
It's quite good rolls there.
20 under 60 made it.
So you sense like a sadness as he responds to these questions. And you think that the sadness is that he just really doesn't understand a lot of the things that you're asking him about, and he wishes he did. Like on a deep level, he wants to know how this all works, how he can get up to the 6th floor, and he just doesn't know. Blake's account in the chat is pretty close.
Yeah, no, so is it just that sometimes people who are here find their way up there, and you're hoping one day you will too?
There is a way. I think that I'll find it eventually. Some people say that there's they call it the Whisper Labyrinth, a maze filled with bottles, and each bottle has a secret, and if you find your bottle, it'll tell you what you need to know.
Have you ever gone down the stacks that appear in your place here?
Oh, yes.
And does it always just lead you back here? Eventually?
Eventually.
Yeah. Did you meet anybody on the other side there that was like you, that was looking for the same thing?
Oh, there's a lot of people.
There are a lot of people, but they seem to come from everywhere.
Did you meet anyone like us, like a lot like us?
Did you meet a god? Did you meet a doppelganger? Did you meet yourself? I think that's what everybody here's like pussyfooting around.
Nothing like that. I spoke to some people who seemed in a similar position. I spoke to a man named Rourke who had been to the Whisper Labyrinth, but hadn't found his bottle. I saw a man, I think a little like you, some sort of agent or investigator,
And do you know anything about where that place came from or who it belonged to? Who made it?
The building changed after we started to watch the show. The night floors, you remember? That's what you were asking me about before.
Has it got to do with the bathtubs?
As far as I know, it has nothing to do with the bathtubs.
No, those are just a quaint feature, I think. So that's when the change happened to your apartment and other places.
I think that's
Wait
right.
a minute. We've watched the show.
Does
that mean where we live, the buildings are going to change?
Let's hope not. But
I like my house.
we didn't watch it home.
Shit.
What?
I need to watch it at my folks' place.
The building might not change back.
I'm okay with
So
that.
what's
They
I
might.
watch it at work. MIT would love this shit.
Sarah,
maybe it only works in those buildings that weird architect guy built.
I mean, it turns out when I was pretty much too small to remember it, I lived in one of those buildings in Chicago. One of the really weird ones.
what brought the night floors to your attention, Mr. Van Fitz?
Well, Abigail did.
And do you know where she got the idea?
I don't know. I mean, and she sort of looks at the axe. Sorry, he looks at the axe like he's not really sure if he wants to tell you, but he says, I mean, Tamara was her closest friend in the building. If anyone knows, it'll be her.
Is Tamara the artist that won't speak?
No, Tamara was the one whose apartment you found the recording devices in.
Right.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, one's not there.
And what's so great about the 6th floor?
Michael just beams when you ask him that, and a tear starts to sort of fall from his eye of joy. He says, I don't know, but I hope that one day I will.
Is this like Ghostbusters with like the dogs on the roof and the portal to... No, it's not like that. I'm deliberately being stupid to see what his reaction is.
Why don't you go up to the roof and find out?
Michael, look, this seems like such a dead simple question. Maybe we don't need to ask, but is there a more reliable way to find your way back to this building from the 6th floor or from the night floors or from whatever else other floors exist? Like, do we need to take a string? Do we need to do breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel?
I think you just get used to them. The more time you spend in there, the easier it is to find your way. You start to understand them.
Okay. What if we didn't want to spend a lot of time there? If we didn't want to get used to them? Any suggestions about how we could maybe find our way back easier? I mean, maybe you'd like to be a guide for us. I mean, if we find the 6th floor, maybe or this Whisper Labyrinth, maybe you'll find your bottle.
He looks furious that you're like dangling the bottle in front of him like a carrot. And he says, if you didn't want to get used to them, you shouldn't have gone in there in the first place.
You ever have a job that you hate to do, Michael? That you just don't want? It's like it's a job that sucks, but anytime you try to quit, they just call you up and say, we're short-staffed, you got to come in.
Had some bad jobs.
Yeah. So I got a bad job right now, and unfortunately my boss is being a total asshole and saying that we need to go into this place. I mean, you like it. That's great. But I don't, and I'll look around at everybody. It's like, I think that most of us like here just a little bit better.
Where do you want me to take you?
Can you take us to the encyclopedia salesman's place?
He again looks sad at that and he says no. He clearly is unhappy that he can't get there.
Can you at least show us where the apparent stairs are? Or is this just one of those metaphysical things?
I'm sorry, I don't know how to get upstairs.
Well,
We haven't
the
been
next,
to look at Abigail's place
yeah.
at night.
Michael, if you come with us next time, maybe maybe it's just because we don't know what we're doing, but maybe we'll find the stairs and you can find your way up. And if we don't, then you can guide us back and we'll keep doing that until maybe you find the stairs or we don't need to come back anymore. Does that seem fair?
Felix
Nothing about
gives
this seems fair.
Sarah his best. Are you fucking nuts? Look.
Look, this guy knows more about this than we do. Like, to me, this is like hiring a guide if you're going on a wilderness trek. You find somebody who knows the territory to make sure you can get back, right?
Yeah, but you're in a hotel and the cave wall fell on Tara. What? You want to go back in there?
Look, no, I don't want to go back in there. I will
Don't we
remind
just-
you all that my suggestion and my idea was just burn the goddamn building down and go home. But that was overruled. That was vetoed. So if we have to do this, I'm just saying that Michael here knows more about it than we do. And
Michael will like explode with rage at the even mention of the building being burnt down. Like someone will just have to grab him and like hold him down.
Yeah, I've done judo and stuff. I'll grab him and.
So we're past the top of the hour, so I reckon let's just take a quick break here and we'll come back
Sure.
and either wrap up this scene or move on. Is 5 minutes okay for people, or do we want 10?
Sure.
works for me.
That's good.
All right,
5 is
5
fine.
minutes. Great. All right, we already did continue.
Yeah.
All right, so there was some discussion of going down to Abigail's apartment, but at the moment, you're upstairs with Michael. What do you do?
Are we all going? Or do people want to talk to Michael more? I'm happy to go and have a look.
I should probably leave Michael alone a little bit while somebody talks him down.
I just want to make note if I got this right. So he said that Tamara is the name of Abigail's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Lives in the apartment that had the wiretap, but that is not who lives in that apartment.
Wait, sorry, that's my mistake if that's the case. I think am I mixed up or are you?
I thought the
There was
one goes to Michael's apartment. That's why we met him in the
No.
first place.
That's not right.
No.
Sorry, I might just have my names mixed up. Bear with me for 1 sec. Sorry, it's Thomas, isn't it? I don't know where I got Tamara
Yes.
from. Okay,
Okay.
sorry. I apologize for the confusion.
Okay, so it's not a clue or anything. This is
No.
So are we going to Abigail's apartment or Thomas's?
It was Thomas's, but now it's Tamara's. No, okay.
Maybe at night it's tomorrow. Who knows?
Yep.
No, tomorrow. It's tomorrow. It's nice.
You say Thomas, I'll say tomorrow. Oh, sorry.
So I mean, it is quite late at this point. It's probably what, like 2 a.m. As you emerge from from the night floors into Michael's apartment.
Sweet, I'm going to Abigail's apartment then. Because it was nice there at night. I want to see if it happens again.
So, Sarah, did you want to go with Felix, or what are you doing?
Well, considering that I have upset Michael, I think it's probably a good idea for me to be out of his presence for a bit. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Felix.
All right.
But I'm taking the hatchet.
All right. Tara and Yelena, what are the two of you going to do? Are you going to go with the others, or stay here, or something else?
I don't see the point in tormenting Mr. Van Fitz anymore.
No,
He's a lost soul, looking to get more lost.
I was thinking of either like going up as far as we can in the building, or Abigail's.
We can check out the roof, but there isn't a 6th floor.
We don't know.
Let's have a look. Sure. Well, they're up at Abigail.
Okay. So let's start with Abigail's apartment. So, Sarah and Felix, you head downstairs. You open the door to Abigail's apartment. It's, it's dark. You turn the light on, I guess, and it looks as you remember it. But you can hear from like some far corner of the room, there's some sort of noise, maybe radio static or something like that.
Okay. I'm going to put my goggles on, try different lenses, and just sort of move closer to the radio static. Just carefully look around.
Yeah, so there does seem to be something strange about the light closer to where the noise is coming from. And you'll see as you get closer, the source is some sort of like quite enormous, old-fashioned, backpack-sized like radio, camo green, that is also stuck to the wall like all the other stuff that's stuck to the wall.
Oh, well, I'll take a photo.
Mm-hmm.
And can I try and unstick it, or can I try and tune it to listen see if I can hear anyone? Or because I will point out in my background, my father was United States Air Force and radio signals. So
okay.
I may have even seen one of these frigging things before.
Yeah, I mean, I think if that's the case, you'll definitely recognize it as kind of World War II era technology. And yeah, you can try one of those two things. Do you want to try and tune in a station, or do you want to try and detach it from the wall?
We'll try the station first.
Okay. So
just Ziggy, I guess.
Oh, you don't need to make a roll.
Okay.
I think it's just a matter of like adjusting and listening and things like that. So occasionally, as you move sort of across the spectrum, you manage to catch like a single word. Even though you're like all over the band, it seems like it's the same voice each time that you hear a word come through.
Is it a voice from that show we watched, or is it something else?
Not a voice that you recognize. It's a man. The voice is quite monotone, and it's basically just single words. So you hear India, you hear moon, Dallin, Exeter, and Seer. Otherwise, even if you keep on the same frequency where you heard a word, it does just dissolve back into static.
Okay. I'll come look at Sarah.
Don't look at me. You're the one who knows radios.
Okay.
I mean, it is weird that like you went across like the entire band and kept hearing the same voice, right?
Yeah, that's super weird.
Like normally you'd expect it to be on the same channel.
Is it even like plugged into electricity at this point, or is it just?
I mean, it's portable, so you assume it has some sort of battery inside.
Okay. Great. Now, do we feel watched when we're in here, like we did last time, or?
If you felt watched before, you still have that feeling now. Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, maybe I'll come back to the two of you if you want to think about what you're going to do next.
Yeah.
All right. So Tara and Yelena, your intention was to head like up the stairs as high in the building as you can go. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So you head up the stairs that should lead to the ceiling. Sorry, to the roof.
Stairs should just lead to the ceiling.
And as you open the door that should lead to the roof, instead you find yourself in what looks like a big, very long pool hall. There are pool tables set out all along it. There are fluorescent lights that sort of shine brightly over the tables themselves, but with very dark pockets of shadow in between them, and a sort of like buzzing sound from the lights. Some sort of dirge-like synth pop playing over the tinny speakers. There's a bar at one end. There are some bookshelves at the far end, the other end. A couple of the tables are being used to play pool by groups of young men. And you also see the only person in here that you recognize is Louise Post, who is the non-speaking artist, and she's playing pool with a man you don't recognize. And there are various doors that lead off this room as well.
And is this... So this is presumably... So if this is where the roof should be, then technically this is the 6th floor.
I mean, if you counted from the ground, this would be the 4th floor.
I was about to say, this is not even the 6th floor.
Okay.
Do I have a cell phone signal?
A phone signal?
Yeah.
Oh, good question. Make a luck roll. So call high or low and just try and roll above or under 50.
High. Nope.
No phone signal.
All right then.
Shall we talk to our artist?
Maybe this one talks.
Maybe she talks while she's here. Who knows?
So you approach Louise Post.
Yes.
She kind of gives you a glance of acknowledgement, which was probably more than you got out of her earlier.
That's communication.
The guy she's with just seems to be talking non-stop in a very sort of loud, brash New York accent. Not really saying anything of substance. Just doesn't like the silence. Likes to hear his own voice. Is the vibe you get. And as you approach, he'll kind of say, well, friends of Louise's, you want to play?
Sure. What's the stakes?
Huh. A lady after my own heart. What do you want to play for?
I don't know. The answers to questions?
Huh. Yeah, I'm a little short on answers to questions myself. Now that you're close, the repugnant smell of his cigar is almost overwhelming. But he starts like racking up the balls.
What if we played for Louise's talking to us?
She doesn't talk. I thought you must have known her.
We met her, and I guess we know her some.
Just saying, maybe she's still willing to wager that. I don't know.
What do you think, Louise?
Louise is just walking silently around the table, holding her cue. What do you want to talk to her for anyway? She ain't got nothing interesting to say.
How do you know? She hasn't talked to you.
Well, wouldn't she talk if she had something interesting to say?
Not necessarily.
Phew.
Do you have anything interesting to say?
You have a lot to say,
I got a lot to say. That's right.
but it's not interesting.
Well, you gonna take a shot, or are we gonna talk all night?
Sure. Yeah, I'll break.
All right. I mean, I don't think we need to roll for the game exactly, but is Tara good at pool?
It's I'm a good amateur. I'm
Yeah.
no kind of shark or anything, but it was a way to pass the time. After sometimes our shifts end at odd hours, and pool was a way to wind down, and when not a lot of places were open.
That was very, very impressive. So I think you probably make a couple of shots, like you sink some balls, you're able to follow up. As you're doing that, Rourke sort of circles the table towards Yelena, and he leans in close and he whispers in your ear, "I thought I was never going to see you again." And then he keeps going as if he doesn't want Tara to know that he's spoken to you. And then when it's his turn,
Is this guy?
yeah, sorry, he would have introduced himself, so you know that this is Rock.
Fuck is
And he'll start shooting.
So does so Louise is playing too?
Yeah, all of you are taking
Yeah.
turns to make your shots.
playing doubles?
Is there anything about her playing?
I can't think of anything that would be distinctive about her playing. Is there anything in particular that you're looking for?
Does she like yellow balls?
She doesn't seem to have any particular predilection for yellow balls.
Okay. How does she feel about being here? Can I
Do you want to make a human roll?
Sure. I'm not great at it, but I'm going to try.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
is that
I don't. Yes, dead on. Ha! Take
all
that.
right? She seems nice. She seems relaxed and comfortable. She's having a drink as well, so that might be contributing. But she seems to be generally in good spirits.
She's not like waiting for something to happen or anything like that. She's
Doesn't seem to be. She's just enjoying the situation. And Rourke, I think, will circle back around eventually and again whisper to Yelena, "I thought you must have found your bottle and gotten out of here." And then again, just circles away before you can reply.
I'll say something to Louise, which is we went through Michael's shelves and we looked for the Whispering Caverns, but we didn't find it this time.
So for a moment, you can't see the pool hall at all. And what appears to you instead is like an intertitle from an old black and white movie or an old silent movie. And the caption is, "There is no Whisper Cavern." And then just as soon as that had happened, you're back in the pool lounge.
Huh.
Whoa.
So did only
Did you
Tara see this, or did I?
Yeah, I think just Tara saw that.
Did you say anything odd just now, Yelena?
Nope.
Just,
no odder than what we've already seen.
Yeah, like this room.
So I reckon we'll pause there and I'll go back down to Abigail's apartment. So, Felix and Sarah, what do you do?
First of all,
Felix, you're the science guy. What do we do?
just going to see if I get a reaction first. I'm going to say the words that were on the radio, the in here, see a moon stuff.
Are you like reading them back into the radio, or are you
I'm just saying them aloud
loud?
in the room, and I'm just looking for light changes or temperature changes or anything, any change, any response at all.
Yeah, no, there's nothing.
All right. Well, then I'll just try forward and backwards into the radio, sort of speaking right at it.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem to produce any effect.
Well, in for a penny, in for a pound, right? I mean, you're already saying the words. You might as well say them into the radio.
Yeah. Do you feel watched here? Just.
I think that Sarah passed the resilience check early on, so didn't get that feeling, if I recall correctly.
Felix, everything's weird. You know, do I feel not that I'm aware of, but I would really very much like to not be here.
Yeah.
And
if we can't burn it down, then we could, seal the doors. That arsehole wants to go in there, leave him in there. We'll just seal the doors and then problem solved,
When you say the word seal the doors, you hear the front entry of the Macallistar open and someone come inside and walk past Abigail's apartment.
Isn't it like 2 a.m?
Yeah, probably getting close to 3.
Holy shit. I'll rush out there, look.
So you see Thomas Manuel. He's still dressed all in black. There's some paint splatters on the clothes that he's wearing. He looks surprised to see you/anyone.
Yeah, he was the painter that had the listening device.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. All right, so it's a funny time. You've been out jogging?
I was just working, painting downstairs. Sorry, Blake, I don't think Felix spoke to him the other day. Is that right? I don't think he
No, I don't think he did.
Yeah.
I pull out the Polaroid of the guy in the basement and say, "This is you?"
Yeah, that's right.
In the basement before.
I mean, he's probably a little weirded out that you took a photo of him through the basement.
Oh no, I'm good. That's what I want.
Yeah, that's right. You with those others who were asking about Abigail?
Yeah, it's a strange time of night. Do you often stay up late at night painting?
Yeah, the night manager lets me use the basement at night.
The night manager?
Yeah.
Older guy?
Yeah.
Thomas, we met the night manager, and he seems to be a ways away from here.
His office is just upstairs.
Down a really long hallway, right?
I guess it depends which way you're coming from. It's a pretty normal hallway to me.
You talk to the night manager much?
Well, not too much. Just if there's something I need.
Gotcha. If we wanted to talk to the night manager, how could we find the night manager more easily? Because I mean, I had a really nice chat with Mr. Castaigne, and it'd be nice to continue that conversation.
Well, if you head up the stairs from the 3rd floor, you'll come to the pool lounge. I think it's the westernmost door leading off there. There's a short hallway, and you'll see the night manager's office just on the other side.
Does this guy smell like the chemicals in the room where the chanting was from?
Oh, good question. No, he smells like paint and turpentine, like that sort of thing.
Okay, cool. I'm checking.
So, what were you painting?
I mean, just getting some work done.
Yeah. You mind showing us?
It's pretty late.
I mean,
but I got to tell you, Sarah is the biggest art painting fan you will ever meet. I'm sure you appreciate what her thoughts on whatever you're doing.
Sarah, why don't you make a persuade roll to see if you can convince him to show you his work?
15 under 70, I think it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like a strong request. He's like, fine. He, you can see that you've appealed to his vanity a little bit in being curious about his work. So he'll lead you back down. So you have to go outside the building to access the basement and then down some stairs. And then he takes you in. And we'll come back in just a sec, but we'll go back to the pool hall first. So Tara and Yelena, what do you do?
I think I am going to just walk past. I'm sorry, Rourke. There we go.
Mhm.
Bad with the name. And be like, I want to get a drink from the bar. I'll sort of gesture if he wants to. Yeah, good idea. I will speak to him in Russian and say the same thing. I want to get a drink from a bar.
He just looks at you like quizzically. Hey, I don't know about them European languages. Yeah.
I'll just gesture like the beer gesture.
Oh yeah, sure. He'll come to the bar with you if that's the direction that you're going.
Okay. So yeah, when I have him, I guess more on our own, I'll be like, "How the hell do you know me?"
What are you talking about? We was in the labyrinth together. The goddamn G-men came for us, and we had to split. You remember?
Be like, I don't know if all you fucking guys just are pretending not to realize the weird shit that's going on here and like fucking around with me, but I have never met you in my whole life.
Oh, I get it. You're some sort of imposter. And he, I think, like pokes at your face, like almost like he thinks that you might be wearing a mask or something like that. He's, oh, right, I get it. I ain't telling you nothing.
Be like, where's this goddamn labyrinth?
Don't you remember we went in through the hospital?
Great, thanks. I'll give him some money and be like, the beer's on me. Where's the hospital?
Well, the hospital's in Boston. What do you mean?
Okay. I'll go back.
All right. Tara, what have you been doing while Yelena went off with Rock? Are you muted?
I figure Yelena wants to have a conversation with him for some reason. So, I'm going to talk about other things that we found, kind of at random, since I don't know what that was, whether that was Louise communicating or the room or reality or. So, talk about some of the people we met, that ritual, the demon thing. As I said, I'm not going to let player knowledge bleed in here.
So I think that there's mostly no reaction to the things that you're saying. She continues the game. So I don't think that any of the things that you mentioned are going to produce a reaction.
So I say to her, "Is there nothing you want from me?" I mean, I guess you want to find the 6th floor, right? Everybody here seems to.
So the same thing will happen. You'll see an intertitle sort of blot out reality for a moment, and it just says like "yes, oh yes," with exclamation marks at the end.
Oh my god! So it is her. She's talking in 1920s film titles.
Are you like mumbling to yourself, or is this all internal monologue?
That's internal because you're not there. I'll mumble it to you once I see you again.
Okay. I figure I'm already like I gave him money and made my way back to the table. So done with it.
I do you know what happened to Abigail? We heard she met the encyclopedia salesman.
There's no reaction as you say that.
I guess that's not your way out or way up.
So
do you know what your way up is? Because if we see it, I'll tell you.
You see a tear trickle down her cheek, but there's no other response.
Yeah, okay. Well, good luck anyway.
as I approach back to the table, I'll just say to Tara, I'll be like, if it's true, I think I kind of know how to find the maze. Was it Whisper Maze? Was that the name of the place?
The Whisper Labyrinth is what they called it.
The Whisper Labyrinth.
The labyrinth.
Louise doesn't think there is a Whisper Labyrinth.
Like, I don't know. This guy thought I'll be like, just wait, what? She talked to you?
No, she didn't.
So how do you know that?
She didn't talk to me.
So more specific, please.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I can make much more sense than that. It was like a silent movie title.
All right, well, I wanna check with Sarah to see if maybe this architect guy built some kind of hospital in Boston. That's
Okay.
where apparently the entrance to the labyrinth is.
Is there anything else up here, do you think?
I mean, unless we want to try to find stairs that continue to go up.
This was as far as they went.
There's lots of other doors here.
I'm not sure I want to wander off without the others. I say to Louise, good luck.
She, as you say that, she sinks the black and wins the game.
Nice.
All right. So let's go back to the basement. So Felix and Sarah, it's kind of cramped, low-ceilinged basement. There are several sort of small rooms that lead off in different ways. Lots of just like, the kinds of things that you'd expect in a basement, store space, storage space, and things like that. There is one room that's been converted to a painting studio, and that's where Thomas takes you. There is one large canvas that's set on an easel, and that, Felix, is where you saw Thomas painting before. There's a small pile of sort of smaller canvases that are propped against one wall, and three big plastic like pails of some kind sitting in a corner with a note on them. And Thomas sort of gestures towards the completed paintings that are leaning against the wall, and to Sarah, well, you wanted to see some of my work? That's them there. Painting hasn't been as popular in New York for the last few years. I still like it, though.
I mean, after Herring died, that kind of took the wind out of everybody's sails here, didn't it?
Maybe.
So what is this painting that I'm looking at?
So the first painting that you see is like pretty realistic in nature, in style, I guess I mean. It's a sort of young, thin man in a hospital gown who's looking into a mirror, and there is a muscular woman returning his gaze with some sort of strange paper mache, like some sort of strange grey blob on her head.
I'm just having a quick look through the ones he's done. Do any of them look like the stuff Abigail had on the walls?
No, so there's only 3 completed paintings in the pile. So there's the one that Sarah's looking at. One of them shows a sort of silhouetted figure standing at the top of a staircase in a burning house or apartment or something. And one of them shows a painting of a figure in a velvet tux and again, sort of grey blobbish mask who's doing some sort of dance.
I'll take photos of both. I'm kind of following Sarah's lead here because she's the art person. I'm not.
I kind of pantomime to you, like without saying it, like look through your glasses, see what you can see with them. As I'm like kind of walking around with my hand on my chin, thoughtfully looking at the perspective and everything.
Yeah. All right. So
the one
Thomas
with the
is talking
tuxedo.
to Sarah,
Yeah. The one with the tuxedo. Is that based on a life model drawing?
No, I don't know where these images came from. Dreams, maybe.
Interesting, because I was in Washington Square Park the other day and I saw a figure wearing a very similar tuxedo, similar mask as well.
Strange. Maybe I guess I must have seen the same person, and my subconscious remembered.
So you don't believe in the Gestalt? The idea that we all kind of share, like there's this underpinning that we all can tap into?
I think I'm a bit more of a realist than that.
I see. Interesting. And the figure in the fire, was that also from a dream?
Yeah, dreams, ideas, they're not particularly of any subject,
I see. What kind of training did you have?
And he'll start like telling you about his academic career or his arts training. Felix, while this is happening, you sort of like look around with your glasses. There's nothing particularly notable about the light in here or anything that you see through the glasses. But what does strike you as strange is that the large easel that you'd seen Thomas like standing in front of before and working on, the canvas is completely blank.
As if he's moved the one he was actually working on somewhere else. And
you're pretty sure, just based on the size, this seems to be the only one this seems to be the same canvas that he appeared to be working on when you saw him before, but it's completely blank.
Yeah, I'll look through the photos I took through the window on that and like, hang on a minute. And I'll just sort of show Sarah without saying anything so she can know.
Yeah, I'll look at Thomas and say, now this canvas here, pointing at the easel, is this a work in progress? I mean, there's conceptual art that begins with a blank canvas and concludes with something much like a blank canvas.
I think this is going to be my finest work.
Really?
He seems to be peering at it very closely. I'm trying to capture the things just outside the frame. And you realize that when he appears to be peering closely, he's actually looking all around the edges of the painting, like he's looking at something just outside the canvas.
Interesting. So you're trying to paint the things that are beyond the canvas, that are just at the periphery of what you see and perceive?
Something like that, yeah.
Fascinating. I wonder, Thomas, do you have a frame that we might put on that just to see what that does to the art? Or do you not want to take that step just yet?
I don't think it's ready for framing yet. But certainly there's bits of there's frames and things like that lying around his studio.
What's your favorite part of that painting, Thomas? I mean, I know I have favorite parts of paintings that I do. A particular brush stroke that was incredibly satisfying or perfectly placed.
Well, you can see that I haven't placed a stroke yet.
I'm standing back a bit. Can I sort of hold up a frame and then look at the picture?
Sure. I mean, it's still just going to appear as a blank canvas to you.
Yeah, okay.
I think that if I capture this perfectly, that it might help me understand what happened to Abigail.
Did she write something perfect?
I think her writing was pretty perfect.
I just wonder, you say that if you capture this perfectly, it sounds like you want to follow Abigail, and that perfectly capturing something in your medium of choice will help you do that.
Not sure if that's what it was. I mean, Abigail found the night floors first. I think that's why she was the first of us to go on. But that's just a theory. I guess none of us really know.
If you'd like, I can put you in touch with my broker.
Is there much of a market for blank canvases where you're from?
Well, if you sell it as conceptual art, there's absolutely a market for it. It's amazing what you can call art and get away with selling, as long as you put enough words around it that, not to be too indelicate, but rich, gullible people lose their shit.
Yeah, well, I'll think about it. And so, let's say that Tara and Yelena, you were going to come downstairs again and try and find the others. Is that right? Brandon, you're muted.
Yeah, but they're not in Abigail's apartment.
Yeah.
So, do I have a phone signal now?
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm going to phone them up.
All right. So, who do you call, Felix or Sarah?
I'll call Sarah. I'll call Felix. Sarah can take care of herself.
All right. So, Felix, you get a phone call.
Hello?
Hello. To what plane of reality am I speaking? Oh, come on, not even a little chuckle?
I wasn't sure how to answer because I don't know where you're calling from. So
we're calling from outside Abigail's apartment because we expected you to be there.
Yeah, we're in the basement.
I'm glad that you picked up because it means that you're not on the night floors.
Or am I?
I'm asking you whether you are or not, Joker.
Right. I'm in the basement with
What are you
Sarah,
doing in the basement?
looking at art stuff. Anyway.
We found a fourth floor.
Right.
It's a pool hall.
What?
Yeah. Yes, we found instead of the roof, we found a pool hall.
Right. You're good at that.
And Louise's was up there. The silent one.
Oh, that would have been an interesting chat.
It was really interesting, but not a chat.
No, that was sarcasm. Okay. All right. Well, I think we'll be finished soon. We're down in the basement looking at Thomas's paintings.
Okay.
Dream unconscious inspired or something.
We'll come down then. Is that all right, Elena?
Oh my god. Sure, another perspective might be good down here.
Perspective, is that an art joke?
Yes and no.
All right, we'll be down there. Don't take any extra staircases.
All right, I'll stand with the door open.
All right. So we're coming up to the top of the hour, so let's take a break here, and then we'll reunite the four of you. If we come back in 5 minutes, is that good for everyone?
I could use 10 this time around.
All right, let's do 10.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Cool. Everyone's back. So I do just want to flag there is a mechanical penalty in this game if you don't get at least some sleep each night, and we're around 3 a.m. at this point. So it's not going to be like too debilitating. You're going to lose some willpower points and potentially some penalties to skill tests. But if you want to avoid that, you're going to need to get back to the hotel pretty soon. But as we pick back up, Tara and Yelena are just coming down into the basement with Blake, Sarah, and Thomas. What do you do?
I think as soon as Sarah stops talking to saying whatever she's saying to Thomas, I'm just gonna ask her, is like, Sarah, do you know if that architect person built a hospital in Boston?
Was that part of what I read?
Why don't you make an int by 5 check to see if you remember?
Okay. That's fair. Because as a player, I don't.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. But also, it's 3 a.m.
Yeah, that's 41 under, what's my int by? Under 70.
Okay, so you remember that Darabondi, there's no reference in any of the material that you've looked at to Darabondi doing any work in Boston.
But, I found out that my parents have been up to some shadier shit than I thought. So, maybe I can brace my dad about it.
Maybe.
I can go ask him some questions with a hatchet.
Just thinking
Probably should have
outside of
asked
the
what
box.
hospital.
Just thinking outside of the box. Maybe the doors can move, and the mirror that the guy painted was originally in one of those Chicago hotels and got bought by Boston. But I've got no evidence to back that up.
I mean, that's no more than ridiculous or outlandish than anything else we have seen and experienced tonight. So I'm just going to file that away as plausible.
That's alarming, but yeah, I get where you're coming from.
So, Sarah, we found some place that shouldn't be there, but isn't as strange as the places we were before.
Not as strange as I think at this point a win.
I think Thomas is going to say, look, it's, I showed you my work. It's late. I want to get to bed.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
All right.
And I'll just kind of wave him off and dismiss him.
All right.
Like he can leave.
He leaves.
Yeah, there's once he's left. Yeah, there's a pool hall on the 4th floor where there ought to be a roof.
Anybody in the pool hall any good?
I beat him.
Louise seemed fairly.
So not particularly. I mean, I don't know. I didn't try challenging random strangers. Louise was there.
Huh.
She's an indifferent player, honestly, but she won the last game. But she communicated to me a couple times. Mostly she ignored what I was saying, but a couple times I struck a nerve because I started to talk about what we had seen on the night floors.
And she communicated to you?
Well, I think so. when I mentioned something, well, the pool hall blacked out for a moment, and I saw something like an old 1920s movie title. And the first time it happened, I had no idea what had just taken place. But the second time, I'm pretty sure it was her.
Okay. All right.
So when I mentioned the Whisper Caverns, she said,
The labyrinth?
yeah, I mentioned that. She said, there's no such place. Or she didn't say, but you know what I'm talking about.
I mean,
Her subtitle indicated there was no such place. And she wants to get up to the 6th floor too, but she doesn't know how to do it any more than Van Fitz does. She's hoping that it reveals itself to her at some point, is my guess.
Now, that being said, there was another fellow up there.
And then what was the other thing, Shane? Just tell me.
So those were the two things that you got from her intertitles. One was that the Whisper Caverns don't exist, and one was that she does want to go to the 6th floor.
Yes, that she really wants to go to the 6th floor. That it's like with Van Fitz. It's the most important thing in her life, but she has no idea how to actually do that.
Yeah,
why can't these people just go to
And anyway,
Disneyland?
Elena had a talk with this guy named Rourke. Evidently, I don't get it, but Elena, you were saying?
Yeah, so in interest of transparency, this fellow seems to also have known who I am and implied that we had gone somewhere and done something together or had been in the labyrinth together, which I have no memory of. But I managed to get out of him, apparently, that the labyrinth is located in some hospital in Boston. Really should have gotten the name of what that place was. He was not Russian.
I mean, at the rate we're going, it's probably the hospital where I was born. You know, I said that to be funny, but now I'm just kind of... Now I'm kind of pondering the possibility of what happened if it actually was the hospital where I was born, because, I mean, I grew up in one of Darabondi's buildings and didn't even know it.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense.
I mean, presuming that there are other places where at night something like this happens, who's to say that that's not where we access the labyrinth, which apparently Louise believes doesn't exist.
So, just tossing this out there, kind of a rhetorical question. How the fuck are we supposed to contain this if we're talking about things in different cities maybe giving access to this shit?
Stop people watching the show, maybe?
Yeah, but I mean, if there's access points in New York and Boston and maybe those weird buildings he did in Chicago, where else are there points of entry?
Boy, is the architect guy the link? If we look at everything he made or touched on, and we'll sort of find what's infected by that, by his career.
Then how do we contain this? How do we just stop this? Because that's the real question, right? That's what we're here to do. We were sent here to find Abigail and contain this, right?
The night floor seems to be our only real link between all of this.
And
Whether that
it seems like those are linked questions, right? That these people are all trying to do what Abigail did. And if we knew what it was that Abigail did, if we could somehow figure that out, then maybe we could turn off the tap somehow, or make it.
How?
I don't know. I don't know.
Have these people put in an asylum, and
Well, that's
things are
possible. Yes,
contained?
that is possible.
I
But
know
it's
not
it's
nice,
not.
but
Well, DG will do that. But it won't do any good if there are still a zillion doorways into the night floors, right? If the way into the night floors is still open, if it's still possible to see those movies and find the way in and things like that, then you can disappear people to your heart's content, and it won't solve the problem.
Why can't DG just disappear the buildings?
I have a feeling that's above our pay grade.
Yeah.
maybe we all need to just get some rest and sleep on it a little bit to figure out our next move.
Sleep is good.
That's a fantastic idea. I'm gonna suggest to everybody, before you go to bed, drink a glass with 10 to 12 ounces of not cold water, not cool water, like almost like room temperature water. Take a couple of aspirin, because I got a feeling we're gonna all wake up feeling hungover from this.
Or we could just drink a little bit before bed so that we can justify actually having a hangover. Just saying.
Look, I don't want to wake up drunk. But yeah, sleep actually sounds good.
Okay, well, see you this afternoon.
All right. So you all head back to the hotel. I have been curious. We haven't talked about this before. I believe that Felix and Sarah have hooked up together on a previous assignment. Are the two of you? So there is a pair of rooms with a pair of beds in each of them. Are Felix and Sarah staying in the same room?
might as well.
Has anything happened? Or how are you finding that?
Well, when they get back, he was going to offer her a joint because he's like, no, I need to relax before I go to bed. So if something happens after that, fair enough.
You know what happens when we smoke together, Felix.
Well, that seems appropriate after what we've been through.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And I think I'll just climb in bed with Felix and fast forward.
Fade to black, yeah. Nice.
Now,
All right.
I have to head off, unfortunately. But yeah, so that's probably a good spot for them.
Okay.
Or we can go back to the library or whatever if they do other stuff.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll pick up with Felix next time. Thanks, Blake.
Have a good night, Blake. Morning.
Afternoon now.
Yeah, man, it's the future for you. Give me a break. Give me a break.
All right. So I'm assuming, well, if any of you want your characters to rise early, we can do that. But I imagine that you wake sort of mid to late morning. And Brandon, you're muted.
And yet you can still tell I'm talking. No, just sorry. I used to shift work, so they wake up at noon.
So the three of you meet up, in a diner or something like that to talk about your next steps.
Pancakes at 2 p.m. Perfect.
Pancakes is an
And-
everyday, is an all-time food.
Breakfast is just an all-time food.
Yeah,
especially in New York.
pancakes are suitable for every meal. But yeah, I've
So,
cobbled together
local
some sort of-
IHOP.
I have cobbled
I
together
throw a
frosting.
bagel at you if you suggest IHOP.
I asked.
I'm
for
Canadian. That's the
grilled
only
cheese
pancake
sandwich.
house we have here that's American.
Great.
Look, there's all sorts of corner diners and neighborhood diners.
Oh yeah. New York's full of terrific places to eat.
A lot of them open 24/7. But yeah, I asked the cook to make a grilled cheese using pancakes as bread.
And half gallon of coffee, please.
Yeah, and hash browns, lots and lots of potatoes.
Nice.
Chicken and waffles.
All right, now what?
Well,
I mean, once we've made it through the.
Do you think daytime versions of these people are going to remember what nighttime versions of these people have said and done?
They sure are. Fitz certainly was different, wasn't he?
Yeah, very different.
you mean there's? I don't want to deal with any of these people at all. Now you're telling me there's like two versions of them we have to deal with?
I'm not sure the daytime versions are going to be any help. I don't know if they. I don't know. But it seemed like they didn't, at least the ones we talked to, honestly didn't know about anything, right? Whereas the nighttime ones clearly know what happened to Abigail, at least in a general sense.
Right.
Right. And I find it hard to believe that the daytime versions are incredibly smooth liars, everyone.
So you think they honestly don't know?
I think they honestly don't know whether they're different people or not, or whether they just don't know what happens at night. They just have a blank.
Like they're sleepwalking or something?
Maybe. But if they all knew what happened to Abigail and all managed to just lie with straight faces to us, I'd be surprised. I mean, you're pretty good at sussing liars, and you didn't tweet anything, Sarah.
I hate this.
I don't know. That pool hall's interesting, though. It didn't seem unreal. It seemed strange, but it was like, a bar with a lot of pool tables in it.
That just happened to be
Well,
very dark in between all of them.
It was really, it was weirdly dark, in between the tables. And of course, it was in a place it couldn't have been. But, the door in was the door out. And the people there were real, and we could play pool. Nothing disappeared on us. So it wasn't the night floors. It was something else. Maybe it's a staging area. If there, I don't know, something.
So when you say there were pool tables, I mean, was it like a normal number of pool tables for a bar, or was it like
It was a lot. There were a lot. It was like a pool. It was like a pool hall, a big one.
Yeah.
Did you see a wall on the other side? Like, was this contained?
Oh, yeah.
Is it like endless tables?
No, there were walls, and a couple of doors. Although we didn't try them.
And some bookshelves, which I guess is a little bit weird for a bar,
but not like, bookshelves disappearing into the distance like in Fitz's apartment.
The interesting thing is that Thomas told me that you can actually get to the night manager's office through a door on the 4th floor. And it's a quick trip. It's not like what we went through where we were just like walking endlessly down halls. Apparently it's like, you know, you go through this door, you go down a short hallway, and Bob's your uncle.
Really?
That's the way he made it sound.
Huh.
Now,
Was that
I'm
odd
not sure how
lockbox?
his office can be on the fourth floor and the third floor simultaneously.
I wouldn't count on the floors matching up at all. You know,
Whatever relation they have to any.
we
kind
never
of
saw
space.
any stairs on the night floors, right? So maybe it all just exists on one level.
Mark, what were you saying?
Oh, it wasn't relevant. Or wasn't
Great.
important, I guess.
So what are we talking about? Like, the hotel that's a Mobius strip?
What's a Mobius strip?
I will literally pick up a napkin and tear it apart and demonstrate what a strip is. It's like, you see, there's only one surface now. You just make that one little twist, and it's one surface.
Yeah,
And
but
it's endless.
you can do that because it's a piece of paper and it's two-dimensional.
Well, who's to say that this can't exist in three-dimensional space? I mean, you're telling me that maybe it's
Oh.
all one floor.
That hurts my head.
God, don't ever look at Escher's art then. If this hurts your head,
No, trying to think about how it would happen in 3 dimensions hurts my head. Not
said, don't look at Escher's art.
not the strip. Anyway,
Well, we should figure out what our next move is going to be.
yeah, I guess that's the thing. I mean, do we want to try to find the night manager the back way?
Not that I'm
Try to find the labyrinth.
sorry, not telling you what to do, but just want to remind Puckett that Sarah was interested in doing some more research at the library about Darabondi in the archives.
My thought was twofold. One, do that. And two, maybe go up to Boston, maybe take Yelena with me, and really kind of put the not literal screws to my dad. Because there's a lot of things that are seeming a little too coincidental. And if there's, in fact, a hospital in Boston where something like this happened, I've got this weird feeling that my dad might know something about it. And I wouldn't be surprised if there actually is a connection at this point, because that just seems to be how shitty this day is going. That is it, Mark, if that's something you're interested in.
I mean, if that's a lead, that's a lead.
I've been to most of the hospitals in Boston. I didn't see any non-Euclidean ones. That's a joke.
I'm sure there must be somewhere that some weirdos who have talked about weird stuff happening at a hospital.
Oh, there's lots of people at hospitals talking about weird stuff happening, but they're mostly psych patients being brought in.
Yeah, but who's to say that they're not right? I mean, if we talked about what we saw last night to anyone who didn't see it, I mean, Tara, you were talking about silent movie title cards appearing as dialogue.
Yeah.
But tell me that doesn't sound like a psychotic break.
Well, but I could still pass a mental stats exam. I
mean, I'd like to think we all could, but
you want me to try one on you? I don't think it's in question. Psychotic patients are not. They don't just have a delusion, and are otherwise normal. Their whole sense of reality is profoundly off, because they can't they can't distinguish between reality and what is going on inside their own brains.
So how is that?
I guess none of us can, but
how's that any different from the people living in that building at this point?
You know, if you ask I mean, at nighttime, they're shading in that direction, I guess. But and I guess, if you interviewed them at night, they might seem like they were in the early stages of psychosis if they, give you truthful answers.
Yelena,
But there are
what do you
otherwise
think
also.
about all this?
Pardon me?
What do you think about all this?
Frankly, speculating is getting us nowhere. I mean, we could talk all day about whether or not anybody would believe we are rational and reasonable. And the fact of the matter is, like, if we told random Joe on the street what we saw, they'd at least call somebody about us.
None in New York.
Okay,
They
fair.
just.
I
They
mean,
just,
in New
they
York,
just keep
we'd be
walking.
yelling at people, and
They just keep walking.
yeah.
Hey,
Regardless.
buddy, Jesus wants you to give me $1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We either need to find out more info to point us in a better direction than we've got now, or we've got to follow up on what we have now. So, hospital, night manager. I mean, there was that locked box.
Yeah, there was that locked
Seemed
box.
really suspicious about that. And why? I don't know. Maybe I need somebody to unlock some hidden memories or something, because I don't know why the fuck people keep thinking that I've been there before.
I mean, if you want to unlock some hidden memories, I know some pretty decent pharmaceuticals that'll do the trick.
Oh, geez, that's what we need.
I mean,
Look, a
if I
very
could-
low dose of psilocybin is just enough to kind of, get people relaxed.
I prefer Timothy Leary's method personally.
Take a shitload of LSD and then trip balls.
At this rate, what else do we have to? Anyway,
Okay,
I don't know.
let's skip the mild dose of psilocybin and go straight to just eating a fucking bag of mushrooms. All right.
So we just need to decide what are we going to follow up on.
I think we should try to find the pool hall again tonight, and see if the night manager's office is there.
All right. For my part, I will hit the library and just even looking at this guy's stuff makes me feel like I need a shower. It's just
Maybe
wrong.
just check to see if he was involved in any kind of hospital plans as a thing to focus on.
It is.
All right.
And-
So that's what Sarah's going to do. Yelena, what are you going to do for the rest of the afternoon?
Well, I mean, we know we can't go to presumably we can't actually go access the pool hall or any of that stuff until evening time, right? So, I think maybe I'll actually go help Sarah, so I'll just say to Sarah, like if this stuff really bothers you, I mean, maybe I can use my academic experience to access some stuff, and if you come across something you really can't handle, then I'll look at it.
I mean, that works for me if you want. I just a serial murdering architect.
Sounds like DD home.
And Tara, what are you going to do with the afternoon, if anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy myself. I'm gonna go walking.
Okay.
Maybe go down to Greenwich Village, walk around, feed some pigeons.
Okay, cool. So let's start at the library with Sarah and Yelena. So I'm going to get you both to make a history roll to see what you find. You're going to get the information regardless, but if you fail the roll, then I'm going to say that you find the material distressing and you're going to lose some resilience for it. Does that make sense?
Works for me.
I passed.
All right.
21 under 60.
What is my history? 60. All right. 8 under 60.
Nice. So you both, some of the material is distressing, but you're able to work through it. Basically, what you find in the library's archives is a copy of a journal that Darabondi kept in the 1920s. A lot of it isn't really that relevant or revelatory compared to what you already know, but there are a few new details. One is that the hotel that Darabondi stayed at and worked on in New York City was called the Broad Elbin. I don't think you had that name before. On the 23rd of May 1921, Darabondi recorded that he received a call there from someone named Bale who claimed to serve the king and gave him instructions on the first of a series of murders that he should commit. He followed the instructions. He found the intended victim, a man named Peter Devoris. He drowned him. And the journal records that after this first murder, he fell into a period of sort of overwhelming depression. He was comforted by friends at the hotel. There's a few names mentioned, and one of them is Rourke. That obviously stands out to you. He continued to perform these murders at the behest of this Bale. In June 1921, Darabondi had become convinced that all of this, the murders, whatever was happening, was connected to a book that he owned called the Libro Secretorum Manifesta, and he surrendered his copy to a second-hand bookshop, hoping that he could break free of the urge to kill. The next morning, a man dressed all in red delivered a copy of a book called The King in Yellow to his door, and he continued to receive and accept the instructions from Bale. And really, that's the new information that you get from the diary. There's no reference to any hospital or anything like that he worked on.
This hotel presumably still exists.
I mean, if you look up there must be a phone book or something like that at the library. There's no record of it, and a little bit more library research will find that there's no record of it ever existing in New York. Tara, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say to Sarah, like, Rourke is the name of the man in the pool hall who seemed to recognize me.
Okay, so just to make sure I got this straight, a guy you met in a pool hall on a floor that should not exist in a building designed by a serial murderer who was somehow alive in the 1920s and providing comfort to this serial murdering architect at a hotel that doesn't exist, somehow talked to you last night in the pool hall that also shouldn't exist.
That about sums it up, yes.
Awesome.
So we'll cut to Tara for a minute. So you have mostly like a pretty relaxing sort of wander around New York.
Sure.
At some point, you come across a woman dressed all in black who is telling fortunes in the street for donations. And she sort of sees you walking by. She calls out to you and offers to read your cards.
Sure.
All right. I think this is a good time for us to finish up for this week, and we'll find out what the cards have in store for you when we come back next time.
Cool.
Everyone remember, just roll a d4 for each skill that you've got marked for today. Increase the skill by that amount to a maximum of 99. I don't think anyone's getting close to 99 yet. And I'm going to end the recording here, and then we'll do stars and wishes.